Hello and welcome once again to the Dwarven Tavern. I am your host, Lyric, and today we are talking about what do you do when you don't have time to game. And this is any type of gaming. This is board games or tabletops, RPGs, video games, like you name it. The only time that you can game is when you're playing on your phone when you're laying in bed at night because you have no time to do anything else and you're too tired to do anything else. So what do you do? What do you do when you can't meet up with your gaming group every Friday night because you've got other responsibilities to deal with? What do you do when you can't log on to your Steam account and play video games with your friends because adult responsibilities? Well, I'm here to tell you what you do. As you may have noticed, of late the Dwarven Tavern itself hasn't been able to enjoy any of its RPGs or tabletop games or anything like that because itself has been way too busy. We're all, separated across the world and we haven't been able to even sit down online to game together. So this is something that can keep you motivated to stick with whatever game you're doing. And this, I hope, works well with video games and online games as well, so please bear with me. So the first thing you want to do when you can't game is first and foremost talk about it. Talk about it with your friends, talk about it with your gaming buddies, talk about it with your group. Talk about it. Keep yourself interested and keep yourself on the right track mentally to make sure that everything is still set in stone, nothing gets rusty. And if you can't talk about it with someone, write about it. Like, create a dialogue in a journal or something about what you want to accomplish in-game next time, or just a goal, a to-do list, a set thing that you can go back to make sure that you've accomplished this stuff. That's not something that you can really use with video games like Call of Duty or Combat Arms or Black Ops, or I'm forgetting all of my video games like Minecraft. Well, you could apply that to Minecraft because if you have like a set to-do list of what you're going to build or what you're going to accomplish achievement-wise, then there's your goals. So as long as you're talking about it, you're going to keep yourself interested, and you might bore or annoy the people around you if you do it a little too much, but do not give yourself the amount of time to annoy people. So get out there and game if you can. Like, remind yourself why you're doing it, and then instead of annoying people by talking too much about it, go do it. So, and don't just discuss like your goals and stuff, but discuss the decisions that you've already made in game. Discuss the gameplay that you've already established, and discuss the decisions that you had to make in those crucial moments. Like for me, I had a character who, Akathan, of course, you probably know him from my previous videos. He was my my monk, my half-orc monk, and he stopped a paladin from saving someone because the person was going to get crushed underneath this giant tower of corpses. So Akathan stopped the paladin from saving that person's life, and the paladin said, well, now you've earned an enemy for life, even though they were companions on a campaign together. And my character said, I'm fine with that. And out of game, while we were waiting for the next session to happen, me and that character's player, Tavernier Alyssa, we discussed why my character was so resolute in that decision and why his character had decided that they were now enemies. That was resolved, everything's cool now, but that was a really huge point, a really pivotal point in that my character's personality, and it was very important for that to have been established, and really important for us to go back and discuss it, because it not only expanded his character for everyone else, but it expanded his character for me. So by talking about it, you are making a clear distinction of what you can do for your characters as well as what your characters are doing for you. So after you have talked your mouth off and talked everyone's ears off about what you want to game, the next thing you can do is prepare for it. And this is like mostly for tabletop games and RPGs and Dungeons and Dragons. Pathfinder, blah, blah, blah. This is for the game masters, the dungeon masters, and the players themselves, too. Plan it out. Plan it out. Like, go far in advance. Like, go even better. Go back and think about what you've already been through and connect the pieces to the future of what's going to happen, because that'll make your characters' heads just explode. So, prepare for it and plan for it, because the more well thought out games tend to be the ones that work smoother, obviously. And sometimes I have a tendency to not think things out, and by not planning ahead, I tend to forget about those games. I don't have those games in my mind. I'm not like wanting to play them as much. When I was DMing for Tavern Josh, my husband, as I was preparing for his game and having all these creative ideas and letting all this inspiration strike me, I found myself wanting more and more to play that game, and we played it within the weekend that I was planning it. So, or within the week, like I was planning it on Monday, and boom, Saturday, that was the game. So by preparing for it, you're actually motivating yourself to go do it. And even though you don't have the time to do it, at that moment, it gives you a goal to get to it, so that by filling in the time of not being able to game, you have a plan for when you do. And even though you might not have time to game, you might have time to be able to at least sit down and write down a few sentences about what you plan to do for your characters, or what you plan to do for your player in game. And this can be, I guess that advice can't really be followed through video games, but if you try really hard, I bet it would work. So, there's that. This is something fun for everybody, and I'm pretty sure people do this without even thinking. When you don't have time to game, and you're thinking about gaming, and can't really talk about gaming, like if you're in a workplace or something, work on your characters' backstories. I mean, that's probably one of the easiest things for anybody to do. Like, think of, like, even the most cliche background stories. My parents were killed, and I'm now seeking vengeance while trying to be the hero and saving other people from that fate. Boom! You're Batman. But that story can be applied for pretty much any scenario. Like, you could be this rich, or no, better yet, poor. You could be this poor, orphaned, little redheaded woman, and your parents were killed right in front of you, and you were spared for your red hair, and you are now on your mission to find your parents' killers because you know that they have a scar over their eye or something like that. And you can do that literally anywhere. You could do that in the workspace when you're like in between calls. You could do that on the road trip. I actually have a tendency to use my phone, voila, for recording my thoughts while I'm driving, so that my hands are free and my focus is on the road, but I want to be able to chart this down, so I record it on the dash, and I record myself talking about it so that I can go back and write that down later. So if I don't have time, like literally driving to work, that would be a 15-minute drive for me, so writing down my character's backstory, that would be a 15-minute dialogue. That's like a novel's worth of information. So take the time, if you can, to at least describe what your character is like, and describe why they're like that. Even if it's a video game character, like if you're playing Skyrim or Elder Scrolls, then those characters, if you want to give yourself a backstory that's outside of game, you can totally do that. That way it gives you more motivation to actually play it when you actually find the time to do it. And that advice can actually go for pretty much anyone. Like the DMs can also work on backstories of their NPCs. And I have a tendency to, when I make my NPCs too interesting, they become PCs. So that just makes you more characters. And leads into what you can do as number 4. So number 4 on my little list of what to do's are roll up at-hand characters, and that means just-in-case characters. Characters that you don't know if you'll play or not. You don't know if they'll ever go into game, but you have them as a just-in-case. Just in case a rainy day happens and a game breaks out, you've got a character. And I actually had an instance like this where I was with a bunch of guys who had never played before, and they were like, oh yeah, we really want a game, but we never had the opportunity to do so. So my best friend at the time, he's like, well, I've always wanted a DM, why don't we just do an impromptu game? So I was like, yeah, let's do that. And everyone had, what are they called? Cookie cutter campaigns? They had, well, it was a cookie cutter campaign, and then they had pre-made characters from the books, and I didn't want to do that, but I had an orc already made. So he was a half-orc samurai named Zantoku, I think, and he was the star of the show because I was the only one who knew how to game. So be prepared at all times, and by being prepared, you're also rolling up characters for instances of which you may need them. It was a very long run-on sentence. Always make sure that you have at least one character who is always available. I also have one of those. His name is Bronx, and he is a paladin half-orc. I just can't get rid of these half-orcs, can I? So I have him, and then I have a few other characters that I have made up ready to do. And you might actually find that you have these characters made from all of your campaigns that you haven't gone back to, and the friends that you don't talk to anymore. You have characters that have no campaigns anymore. So those can be your impromptu characters for when you decide, hey, let's game because it's 2 a.m. on a Friday night and we have nothing better to do. We want to stay up until the sun's up and drink the entire time, so let's game. And if you have a bunch of campaigns that are discontinued, then you have a bunch of characters so that even friends who don't have characters have characters. So that's another reason to roll up characters in advance, is so that you can have a whole campaign at hand, even for friends who've never gamed before. So there's the advice. Sorry, that was a bit of a ramble. But to summarize all of this, my hands are just out of control today, with the 4 points of what to do when you can't game, is number 1, talk about it, discuss it, think about it, make sure it's on your mind. Number 2, prepare for it and plan in advance so that you know what's going to happen. This can't really be applied with video games, except for if you look up what's going to happen in the video game before you play it, you know, if you've never played it before. Number 3 is work on backstories, and this can be included with even video games of characters that you already know the backstories to, like, say, Agent 47. So, like, work on backstories, because that's always a fun thing to do, even if it's, you know, you basically writing fan fiction. No one would care. And then number 4, the last one, roll up characters, even if they're in advance and you're never going to play them, because chances are you might not play them, but your bestie who's never played D&D or who's never played Pathfinder or any of those tabletop games, or even like rolling up characters in a video game, like just to have them or just different accounts, so your bestie can play those characters and join you on this epic journey of gaming, and you guys can have this whole other bestie friend thing to do. I don't have a best friend, so I don't know how to describe it. I hope this helps a lot. I really do. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please comment below. We really are interested in what you have to say, and we're really sorry about not putting out videos of late. Again, we've been busy, so please comment below if you have any suggestions. We'd love to hear them. And if you have any comments about this list, I really hope that they're positive, so down below if you could. Please like, subscribe, and share, and get the word out, and let the world know that Dwarven Tavern is here to provide you with gaming information. So thank you guys for always taking the time to watch these videos. We really do appreciate it, and we wish for you to want for nothing but adventure. And at first I feared it, then I charged. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.